Sweet Tea with Coach Key.
Let's just get down to it.
Welcome to Sweet Tea with Coach Key. Coach Key.
Sweet Tea with Coach Key.
Real life stories of inspiration, perseverance, and prosperity.
Turn your radio up as loud as possible.
Sweet Tea with Coach Key.
I hope you have your teacups ready because she has the sugar.
Nothing like a cup of brown sugar to sweeten my day.
Now let's enjoy some Sweet Tea with Coach Key.
Sweet Tea with Coach Key. Welcome to this week's episode of Sweet Tea with Coach Key. I have had some technical difficulties this morning, so hence the delay for my upload. However, the show must go on. The show must go on. This week, I want to talk about the acceptance of other people. Fighting to be accepted. The desire to be accepted. The pursuit of acceptance by the world, by other people. I think that is a huge deal with the world today, with, everybody motivated by likes. I know just recently this year, I started a business a couple years ago, and this year I started doing something with it. And I hired someone to go onto my social media to expand my reach and expand, my followers and who I'm following and, brand awareness pretty much on social media. And I quickly moved away from that because he was adding people for interest that I had nothing. I didn't want to see the stuff that was popping up. And two, I felt convicted. I felt really convicted. I felt very convicted about that because one, it wasn't truly organic. Two, likes don't equal followers, don't equal dollar signs at all. Another thing is the Bible speaks about despising the day of small beginnings. Like, what is so bad about starting something and it being small? Nothing. I just recently had a huge sale and I had a ton of orders, And I thought in that moment, thank God that it did not start out this way, And sometimes that's how it is when we're fighting for acceptance, when we are fighting for people to like us. It can become overwhelming. And when I say overwhelming, let's think about the individual who is really not per se people person. A person who is really not, that touch point for communication, that touch point for resources on demand. Like, they could provide it in their, at their leisure, but being a constant touch point, constantly responding back to customers, constantly, being that person for their family, that may not be, comfortable. When you put yourself in a position to be liked or accepted, regardless of what you like, but just to be liked and accepted, you put yourself in a position to be accessible to other people, whether it be they're sending you DMs, whether it be they're commenting on your posts, whether it be they invite you, like real life stuff, they invite you to different things that you per se don't want to show up for. Let's say that you're a mom and you want to be accepted by all the other moms, so you wear the particular bag and you drive the particular car and your kids wear this whatever, or they participate in everything so that you seem like, mom of the year. Well, 9 times out of 10, those other moms are going to want to be in your circle. And when you're pretending to be something that you are not, it's burdensome. And it also puts you on the hook for being accountable. You have a bill to pay because a price was paid for our lives, right? We all have a bill to pay per se, and our bill is our purpose. And when we're being fake to be accepted, our bill is not being tended to. We're overdoing something else. It's kind of like when you owe somebody money, but you out at the mall, And in this case, you're out at the mall buying something that you really don't want. So I can say I've learned, because I have definitely explored the people pleasing state, as I just said, with trying to be accepted on social media with my new brand. Also in life, like I remember times in school or even with people that I thought were my friends, and I really wasn't a good friend to them either, because they would ask me things and I wouldn't be honest with them because I didn't want to spar with them, or I wasn't honest with them because I wanted them to like what I was saying. And it turns out that's one, it wasn't, as I matured, I realized that really wasn't, we both weren't being, great friends to one another. Initially, I thought, well, this person wasn't a good friend to me. But no, like he should know you wasn't a good friend to them either, because they came to you for advice and you did not give them the truth. You didn't share your heart with them. You shared with them what you thought would be digestible to their palate at the time. And you gave them something sweet when they may have needed some vegetables that day, So being accepted is a focus on acceptance is a very, very heavy burden to carry. And it also robs you of your identity. I think that a lot of times people are more familiar with familiarity. Like they want to, they expect for things to be, to travel the road a similar road to where they've traveled before. And I have news for you. What God is doing through you is new. So somebody's going to have a new experience with you if you are organic and if you are truly being yourself. Each person is going to have a different experience with everyone else. No one is the same. No one is the same. And we owe it to our purpose and to our destiny to be organic and not be on the pursuit of people pleasing. It's a dangerous game. And if you are on a different spectrum, trying to please God. I shared on my Instagram this week how I had to have a tough conversation with someone last week, and I froze and had really, really, really thick layer of anxiety with what I was doing, because I did not want to disappoint God with this conversation. Well, God ain't like us. God is not like us. He's not like us. He don't see things the way we see it. He don't throw us away because we don't do things perfectly. I remember there was a teaching with the pastor. He had a $50 bill and he held it up to the congregation. Who want this $50 bill? Everybody said yes. He balled it up. Who still want this $50 bill? Everybody, I want it. He stomped on it, smeared it in the floor. Who want this $50 bill? Everybody, I want it, because it didn't lose its value. No matter how perfect or imperfect we are, we don't lose our value to God. Unlike people. And God created us, so he knows what we come with. He created us. He knows what our failures and our misfortunes and he knows all of that. So we don't have to sugarcoat or hide anything from him. And he loves us just the way we are. So we don't have to try to be prolific when we're praying. And he knows our heart. He knows our heart. I think that the desire to please God pleases God. Let me say that again. I think the desire to please God pleases God. So we can let go of this idea that he is like us, that he sees things the way we see things. The fact that he knows our heart is, well, let me say this. It can work in our favor. I know that I see people, homeless people, or people who are just down on a hard time all the time when I'm driving around and everything. And I was talking to my mom one day and I said, Mom, I have to tell myself sometimes, Keisha, you can't help everybody that you see, because I have a desire to do that. And I have to stand, like I have to walk with discretion and discernment as I'm doing these things, because as I am all out with doing what I want to do, I could put myself in danger. I totally forgot why I was sharing that point. That happens all the time. I totally forgot why I was sharing that point. But yeah, I think that it is really, really, really important that we Oh, I know I was sharing that point. Because the Lord will bless me for that thought. Even though I may not be able to physically, or like when you're driving down the street and you see somebody on the way on the other side and you can't get to them. Or when you're about to give someone something at the light and then the light turns green and you can't, whenever, or you wish that you could do something to help somebody, but you don't have the resources, and you're about, whatever. God knows your heart. In the same way, He knows when you're doing something for the wrong intentions. And a lot of times we get into that cycle when it comes to trying to be accepted by the world. And another reason why that's very, very dangerous is because everybody is never going to like us. We won't be liked by everybody. That's impossible. You should have the understanding and the expectation for some people just not to like you. And that's okay. That's okay. And you're not going to like everybody either. Let's be clear there. You're not going to like everybody either. And that's okay as well. But we must walk in love. I teach my children the bare minimum that everybody gets is respect. The bare minimum. And you know where that comes from? That comes from the love of God. That comes from wanting to be acceptable and pleasing to God. Your ways to be acceptable and pleasing to God. Not ourselves, but our ways to be acceptable and pleasing to God. So if you are in a cycle of trying to be accepted and up with the times as it relates to social media and just the world, I encourage you to take a step back and redefine who you are. Look, take some time to do some seeking of yourself and your Father to determine who you are and who you are supposed to be in this season and what your interests are supposed to be and what your time is supposed to be spent doing. I have one more thing to share. I in the pursuit of finding inventory for my business, I would sometimes go in the store and I would purchase things that people had previously asked me for. And I wasn't successful when I was doing that. Now, before, I had made a promise to God that I was going to be true to who He created me to be and only buy things that I liked, right? And things that I would wear. So I would ask myself, okay, does it meet? I have a certain criteria. Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And the number one thing is, would I wear this? Is this something that I would put on my body? And if that is a no, then I don't need to buy it because it's my brand. This is what God gave me. He gave me the ability to put fashions and put looks, to put things together, from modern and vintage fashion. So I had started going into the store and buying things that people had asked me for to sell so that they could, buy them and put them in their closet. And I didn't really feel good about it, but I did it anyway. And guess what? I had those things on hand longer than anything else because it became unorganic, if that is a word, for me to sell these things because I didn't have a connection with them. Like I didn't have the thought that I had when I picked this up was somebody asked me for this and they like it, but how you could style it and what stuck out to me and what I like about it and the potential of a look with this thing, it wasn't there because it wasn't my choice. It was a choice. I mean, it wasn't something that I like. It was something that I picked up solely to make money, and it was solely to people please, and it was solely to please someone who asked me to pick it up. And that's important for us not to get down, not to get detoured from what God has placed in us. And stay on track with what our future should look like or what our current situation should. Are you going to college just because this is what the world says you should do? Are you driving that car because that's what the world says you should drive? Are you wearing your hair like that because it's been known that plus size women can't wear short hair? Are you like, what is it? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it the stipulation or the moves that you're making? Is it organic to who God created you to be? Or are you trying to people please? Are you afraid of rejection from the world? Ask yourself these questions and seek God about guidance in this area because this is real. We're going to have to be accountable for what we spend our time doing, what we spend our money doing, the thoughts that we have. The Lord is going to hold us accountable for those things. So we have to make sure that they're aligned with what He wants for us because, first of all, that's the best. That's the best of the best of the best, Well, this is the longest episode I think I've ever done. Normally it's just, straight to the point. But I mean, apparently this needed to be said. That's why I had my technical difficulties. That's why my notes are upstairs. And I realized that once I got way down here, but it's okay because ironically I remembered what I wrote down, and I was able to share it with you all. So I'm excited for what this word the seed of this word can do for your life today and going forward, and anybody else that you choose to share it with, even if it's not sharing a podcast, but just sharing the idea, the thought, the word, is also a blessing to the Lord. So I am going to let you have the rest of your day back. Please do stay connected with me. You can find me on Instagram at Keisha Austin _ and as far as my plus size vintage store, that store is called Bomb Plus Vintage. It's on Instagram as well at Bomb _plus Vintage. I hope that you have an amazing remainder of your week. I hope that you take heed to anything that God is showing you in this season. And if it's heavy and if it's rich in nutrients, ask Him for His help in you digesting whatever it is that He would have you do. Be blessed, stay blessed, and take care.